people really want to see, just for fun, what this can do. Like, can we get a shot of the GoPro, like behind the GoPro?
Let's. It's super fun. The reason I built this is because I knew a lot of people were using primes on the ILS GoPro Mission 1 Pro ILS, and I just said, well, people won't use zooms, but what if you did?
MrBlack.
All right, we're back, day 2 at NAB in Vegas, and back with David because you guys loved him, and we have a couple more questions. A lot of people asking about the differences between these new GoPros that are coming out. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's actually easiest to start with the middle line camera, which is the GoPro Mission 1 Pro, because that's got all the premium features. That's got the 8K60, the 4K 240, the 1080 960, you know, the crazy ones. And the frame rate that people often skip is the 1440 480 sustained. Abe, our chief editor, has been doing a lot of like powder snow stuff with that. So you just start recording at that speed and then head down the mountain and see what you find, you know. So great slow motion. The entry level model, you have 4K 120. You only have 8K30, not 8K60. The Pro adds the open gate 4x3 8K. So the Pro is for those who are, you know, really aspiring to do some either crazy frame rates or using the open gate 8K. So those are the real reasons to upgrade to the Pro. But the Mission 1 is a fantastic camera, and in some ways, the Mission 1 is for the next step up for a traditional GoPro user.
So it's like a kind of a Hero 14, but they're not going with a different, just going with a different name.
The bigger sensor, the bigger glass, the way longer battery life, the all improved thermals that we joked about just a moment ago. It's so much better. It's just, you know, it's not like a generation step for a GoPro. It's a much bigger than that.
Yeah.
So that's the Mission 1. The Mission 1 ILS, we're at NAB, and yeah, this crazy configuration has created a few, you know, definitely.
A smart move.
It was a joke move, but turned out to be a smart move. It just shows how flexible this camera system is. People who are doing reality television, cinematographers who need B and C cameras, but they've used the GoPros reluctantly in the past. GoPros are the best cameras for these sort of things, and they're used everywhere. And when I say reluctantly, is that they want to have more control over the camera. They want to have more control over the depth of field. They want to have more creative control. But they're great cameras to hide around the environment, whether on Survivor or, you know, whatever the reality show.
Yeah, true.
And now they will be able to set a different lens to be able to choose what part of the scene that they want to tell their story, and still have a rugged camera, still have a camera. Now, you know, they're already using lots of GoPros. Now they're going to be using more of these. And one thing that every one of our modes, except for that crazy 960, all available 10-bit with new GP Log 2. So that we don't have as many lockouts that we used to have. You know, you may remember occasionally you would choose a mode, oh, I can't do that. I put the macro lens on. Oh, now I don't have this thing.
Yeah. Someone had a question that was like about the autofocus.
Well, yeah, we chose to go without contacts. So we're only using our manual, because we're not doing a photocentric for this. So this is definitely for a cinematography tool and a great camera to put. You would typically turn off if your lens had an optical stabilization. You only ever want to use that for photography. You don't want to use it when the camera could potentially be moving because it doesn't behave well. You know, you know. So you generally turn those things off. We understand there are people who have powered lenses that won't be able to use them on this camera. I understand their disappointment. But we would not be able to deliver this camera with autofocus in the time that we are, and then for the cost that we're delivering this thing. It is a move that makes sense for the markets we're going after, and if there's a lot of interest in having an ultra small form factor Micro Four Thirds with autofocus, that might be our generation.
So it could be something in
the future. It's not for this camera though. This is not the market we're going for, and I understand the disappointment, but then there are others who react to this and go, what? I don't want that.
But they could use their autofocus lens, but then put it in manual mode.
If the lens doesn't require power.
Okay.
There's hundreds of lenses that are just manual. Plenty of those cinema focus lenses, manual and Micro Four Thirds, there's a lot of them. And of course, any vintage lens that you're adapting the interface to, like this classic vintage, they don't tend to have the contacts through anyway. So the inexpensive EF to Micro Four Thirds, or if you've got a whole Pentax system, you can adapt that. If you've got PL doesn't have contacts, right? You know, the classic cinema lenses don't have electronic contacts like that. And so you can adapt all those lenses, and practically this is like a Super 16 camera. So got any old vintage PL 16mm out there,
That
you're
would
going to be incredible.
Just go through your grandparents' attics and stuff like that. Someone was also asking about as a webcam.
About the webcam and things like that. That is all just standard GoPro APIs. It actually works across our cameras, so it goes back to maybe Kira 10 or 11. You can see where that we started.
Listen, they also have the microphones, the wireless microphones that you can connect to it. You don't necessarily need the media mod to go HDMI out, which is very impressive.
But yeah, GoPro Labs is the hacking of the camera to make it do more things than it was intended to do. And I run that project. It's called GoPro Labs, and that allows you to use QR codes to tell the camera to do new things that we hadn't.
And that's
previously.
been around for 3 years?
Came out 2020.
Oh, 5, 6. Oh my gosh, I forgot what year it was.
Yeah, but it's constantly be built upon and enhanced. And for Hero 13, that is definitely the premium right now for GoPro Labs support. And then I'm working on getting a GoPro Labs ready for launch for the Mission 1.
Can we get a shot of the GoPro, behind the GoPro?
Let's. So the idea is that, yes, I've got a powered zoom. So now I'm going to try and dial in the crazy. Well, let's go a little further away than these guys. Clearly, I would not be shooting a 200 millimeter lens.
Put it on a tripod. Yeah.
You put it on a tripod, and it works really well. Power zoom, crash zooms. I can take off the motor and just really hit this. And yeah, you need to have a sturdy mount to be able to make that look nice. But for hand holding at this show, I can just show what we can do. It's a parfocal lens. These things are retro lenses you get off eBay and can be modified. It's just a broadcast lens with a broadcast B4 lens with a micro thirds adapter. It's super fun. And the reason I built this is because I knew a lot of people were using primes on the ILS GoPro Mission 1 Pro ILS. And I just said, well, people won't use zooms, but what if you did?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I found this is a crazy fun lens to use, and I've used it on short film projects myself already. It is, I'm not going to give this one up. This is fun.
Despite all the competition, there's still a lot of GoPro fanboys out there, but a lot of people rooting for GoPro. And this is a new era. So we're really excited and can't wait to get my hands on these and try them out, test them out in the field and all that stuff. So thanks again, David.
You're welcome.
And we'll see you guys next time.